Just when everyone was betting OpenAI and Microsoft were heading for a messy divorce, OpenAI just dropped a bombshell. GPT 5.6 is their preferred model for Microsoft Copilot 365. And not just preferred, it's being deeply integrated into the entire productivity suite. This matters because for months, the tech world's been buzzing with breakup rumors. Insiders whispered about philosophical differences, licensing disputes, and OpenAI getting too independent to need Microsoft anymore. The narrative was, partnerships dissolve, models get swapped, and suddenly you're shopping for alternative AI providers. But here's the plot twist. Instead of pulling apart, OpenAI and Microsoft just went all in on each other. GPT 5.6 is being baked into Office 365, Copilot, Teams, Outlook, and every Microsoft productivity tool millions of people use daily. That's a staggering vote of confidence in a partnership everyone thought was cracking. It's like hearing rumors a couple's breaking up, only to have them announce they're building a house together instead. The implications are enormous. If Microsoft is this committed to OpenAI's latest model, it signals OpenAI's technology is absolutely non-negotiable for the Redmond Giant's core AI strategy. This isn't just a contract renewal. It's a seismic statement about where the entire AI industry is headed. So what's the actual relationship between these two tech giants? Here's the short version. It's complicated, but it's also been extraordinarily profitable for both sides. Microsoft and OpenAI formalized their strategic partnership back in 2023, starting with a massive $10 billion investment from Microsoft into OpenAI. That wasn't just a funding check. It was a strategic bet that OpenAI's models would become the backbone of Microsoft's entire AI strategy, and it worked spectacularly. From there, Microsoft baked OpenAI's technology into everything: Copilot, Office, GitHub Copilot, even Azure's AI infrastructure. For the next couple of years, they were the ultimate power couple of AI. But then rumors started spreading across the industry. There were whispers about OpenAI wanting independence, about wanting to move away from Microsoft's ecosystem, about licensing disputes and competing interests. Tech media absolutely loved the drama. A partnership that looked unshakable was supposedly coming apart at the seams. The Wall Street Journal wrote about internal tensions. Twitter was full of speculation. Insiders said Microsoft was increasingly nervous. But here's what actually happened. OpenAI doubled down hard. By formally stating that GPT 5.6 is their preferred model for Copilot 365, OpenAI's not just renewing a contract, they're actively deepening the partnership commitment. But here's what most coverage gets wrong. Here's where things get technical, so I'll break it down simply. GPT 5.6 isn't just a minor upgrade from the previous version. It represents a genuine leap in capability that's made enterprise customers absolutely thrilled. We're talking about a model that's demonstrably faster, more accurate, and handles complex, nuanced tasks that older versions consistently stumbled on. Think of it this way: if you've been using ChatGPT or Copilot, the difference between an older GPT model and 5.6 is like upgrading from a capable assistant to a specialized expert on your particular problem. It understands context way better, it reasons through complex problems more reliably, and crucially, it doesn't hallucinate as much, which is absolutely critical for business use cases where accuracy actually matters. Why does Microsoft care so deeply about this? Because they are selling Copilot 365 to millions of enterprise customers. Big companies relying on AI to handle customer support, write production code, analyze financial data, and make strategic business decisions. If the AI they're using gets things wrong, Microsoft takes the hit. OpenAI putting their absolute best model into Copilot 365 signals they are genuinely confident in the quality. It's not just raw computational power. It's reliability, safety, and the kind of precision that enterprise customers absolutely demand for mission-critical work. Now here's the practical part, where this actually shows up in your work life. If you're using Microsoft 365 for your job, GPT 5.6 is going to power features across the entire suite. In Outlook, it means smarter email composition and intelligent reply suggestions that actually understand your tone and context. In teams, it means better meeting summaries, more accurate transcripts, and AI that genuinely understands what was said, not just what words were spoken. In Word and Excel, you're getting an AI copilot that can write complex documents, analyze massive datasets, and catch errors that would normally slip through. GitHub Copilot, the coding assistant millions of developers rely on, gets a massive boost with 5.6's improved reasoning abilities. That means better code suggestions, faster debugging, and AI that actually understands software architecture. In PowerPoint, you're getting presentations that look polished faster, with design suggestions that actually match your content. For teams running support operations, Copilot for Service means better customer interactions, more accurate responses, and less back and forth between AI and human agents. All of this runs on the same backbone, GPT 5.6, meaning consistent quality and behavior across every tool. This is where the strategy gets fascinating. Here's the question that's probably crossed your mind. Why didn't Microsoft go with Claude or Gemini or one of the open source models instead? The answer comes down to speed, accuracy, and reliability at scale. When you're supporting millions of enterprise users, benchmarks matter. GPT 5.6 consistently outperforms available alternatives on the specific tasks enterprise customers actually run: complex writing, nuanced reasoning, code generation, and data analysis. It's not just raw benchmarks either. There's something called latency, how fast the model responds, and GPT 5.6 is significantly faster than competing options. For a support agent handling customer queries, speed matters because it affects the user experience. For a developer waiting for code suggestions, speed is the difference between helpful and frustrating. Claude is excellent, especially for certain tasks, but it doesn't have the same deployment footprint across all of Microsoft's infrastructure. The open source models are free, which is fantastic for hobbyists and research, but they don't have the same level of polishing and safety refinement that enterprise customers demand. GPT 5.6 has been extensively tested against adversarial inputs, bias attempts, and real-world edge cases that only come from millions of customers using it daily. Microsoft looked at all the options and decided OpenAI's model was the best fit for their enterprise strategy. And here's where it gets complicated. Step back and look at what this announcement really signals. First, OpenAI and Microsoft aren't just partners, they're inseparable partners now. This level of integration doesn't happen unless both companies are betting huge amounts of capital and reputation on each other's success. It's a statement that despite the competition in AI, some partnerships are actually getting stronger. Second, this is a direct message to enterprise customers considering their AI strategy. Microsoft's saying, "Our AI layer is powered by OpenAI's best technology, and it's not going anywhere." That gives companies confidence to commit to these tools for mission-critical work. Third, it shows what the market actually wants. For all the hype around open-source AI and smaller models, enterprises want one thing: reliability, quality, and integration. They want to know that when they're using AI in production, it's not going to embarrass them or crash at scale. GPT 5.6 in Copilot 365 delivers exactly that. Fourth, this is a flexing of muscle against Google's Gemini integration into Workspace. Google's pushing hard to make Gemini as central to Workspace as OpenAI is to Microsoft. Both companies are in an arms race to make AI so embedded in everyday productivity that switching becomes nearly impossible. That's good news for users because it means rapid improvement. That's concerning news if you value competition, but this is what everyone's talking about. Now, practical question: how do you actually get your hands on this? For most people, you don't have to do anything special. If you have Microsoft 365 for your organization, your team is likely already rolling out these GPT 5.6 powered features. They'll start showing up in your apps gradually over the coming weeks and months. For enterprise organizations, there's a staged rollout happening. Microsoft is pushing the updates to admin accounts first, then to general users. Your organization's leadership will control the rollout speed based on their security and compliance policies. If you're on a basic subscription, You might have limited access to some premium features initially, but the core integrations are coming across the board. For developers using GitHub Copilot, make sure your IDE is updated to the latest version. That's where the GPT 5.6 improvements show up most visibly. The autocomplete suggestions are measurably better, and the multi-line code generation is faster and more accurate. There's no separate sign-up or special enrollment for regular Microsoft 365 users. This is part of your existing subscription. The one thing to watch: some advanced features might be locked behind higher-tier subscriptions or sold as add-ons. Microsoft's been experimental with their pricing model for AI features. Check your subscription level if you're not seeing the full feature set after a few weeks. The key is to keep your Microsoft apps updated. That's where all the GPT 5.6 goodness is actually delivered. Here's what we actually learned this week. OpenAI and Microsoft aren't just business partners, they're doubling down on each other at the exact moment when the tech industry predicted they'd split. GPT 5.6, becoming the preferred model for Copilot 365, isn't just a technical decision, it's a strategic statement. It says OpenAI's technology is central to Microsoft's future, and Microsoft's distribution is essential to OpenAI's growth. For you, this means the AI tools you're already using are about to get noticeably better. If you're worried about being locked into one company's AI ecosystem, this move probably makes that concern more valid. If you're looking for the most reliable enterprise AI available today, Microsoft and OpenAI just made their bet very clear. The industry is watching to see if Google can keep pace with Gemini, if other partnerships crack under pressure, and if open-source models can catch up to this level of polish and performance. The next chapter of the AI industry isn't about who's building the best model in isolation. It's about who can integrate that model most seamlessly into the tools people actually use every day. Microsoft and OpenAI just showed their playbook. Everything else is response. If you want to stay ahead of what's happening in AI and tech, follow for daily news that actually explains what's going on.